Good afternoon, everybody. Today we are going to talk about verbal learners and physical learners. We will begin with verbal learners. What is a verbal learner? The verbal learning style is often confused with the auditory learning style because they do share some of the same similarities. However, they are two different learning styles. Verbal learners tend to have a vast vocabulary and they excel at activities, including speaking, debating, and journalism. What are some of the characteristics of verbal learners? The child may have a fascination with words and tend to learn new words very easily. They also sometimes even love dictionaries and love reading through the dictionary. They usually have a very rich vocabulary. They also tend to enjoy games such as Scrabble, word finds, and crossword puzzles. They are gifted at learning new languages. Sometimes you may find that they know 2 or 3 different languages. May have difficulty in spelling or visualizing the information that they have learned. They do tend to ask a lot of questions, and they have excellent verbal expression, usually much higher than their peers. They don't like silence, and they enjoy participating in study groups. They tend to do better with math word problems than the actual equations. They enjoy talking about what they have read, and they easily remember quotes, puns, and rhymes. What are some of the verbal tips? What are some of the study tips for verbal learners? First one, be sure to give instructions verbally in writing rather than visually, since verbal learners will most likely struggle with pictures and diagrams. So it's very important to give instructions verbally or in writing. Read books aloud and then have your child read them back to you. They enjoy reading the stories back to the parents, usually. Refrain from using a monotone voice. A monotone voice is a voice without any emphasis or a change of tone. So when you're reading to them, use different voices for characters that you're reading about. Establish a rhythm when reading and speaking aloud. This will help increase memorization capacities in the verbal learner. Give your students written materials for editing. They can edit each other's written work, and this increases sentence structure and vocabulary, and they learn more about the grammar of writing. Verbal learners will perform much better when asked to write about a scientific topic rather than draw it. You can split the class into those that will write about the topic and those that will do a project or draw it. Assign book reports, scripts to memorize and perform. Word problems in math and debates to your verbal learners to get the most engagement as possible. Engagement is very, very important. The more they engage, the more they learn. Allowing your students to write his or her own stories can be a tremendous learning opportunity for verbal learners. Let them use their imagination. Let them to come up with their own writing prompts. You can also use class writing prompts, but it's really good to allow the students to come up with their own prompts. Ask your child to create a story of ages. What do we mean? It means like combining such as science and history to create a tale such as Albert Einstein's great inventions based on a topic that they're currently learning recently. Try educational games such as Scrabble, word finds, crosswords. They will have fun and they will be engaged and they will not realize that they are learning. Incorporate written projects as often as possible. Okay, this is about the verbal learners. Now we're going to go on to physical learners or tactical. Tactical and physical learners are often one and the same. Both learning styles are very hands-on. They learn best by touching, moving, physically doing. Physical tactical learners would rather draw, build, or put something together by trial and error. Because of this, physical tactical learners may get fidgety in the typical traditional classroom setting. And this is important to know because they want to move around a lot. What are some of the characteristics for physical learners? People who are physical learners usually share some of the same characteristics, such as they are highly coordinated. They learn through hands-on activities. They enjoy active learning activities such as drawing or study games. They have a hard time staying still, and this is really important for the classroom teacher to understand that these kinds of learners will not stay still. They may have difficulty in staying attentive. So if you force them to stay still, they will not be attentive, and sometimes they will disturb other people, and they can pinch and hit and do all kinds of things. So it's good to engage them in activities that they will actually be interested in and engage in. They are good in athletics usually, and they're usually good with drama. They have lots of energy, and they have very good motor skills. Some of the characteristics of the physical learners seems to overlap with characteristics of students with ADHD. In both instances, usually boys are more likely to be physical learners or be diagnosed with ADHD. We must keep in mind that learning styles are usually the way that students retain information best, and this is the way that they are engaged. The physical learning styles stimulate the student's mind to stay engaged with the subject or topic. And this is really important. If these kids are not engaged, then they will be disruptive. So, some of the activities and tips for the physical learner. Okay, we need to understand that physical tactical learners retain information best by movement, building, stories, and visuals. Okay, next, learning should be exciting, but for physical learners, movement is a key. This is really, really important because, as I said, if they are not engaged, they are going to disrupt. These students will be able to stay engaged and retain more information with lessons that include physical activity rather what they read or hear. Okay? Now, some examples of this is you must encourage the child to draw diagrams, trace letters. This will improve their reading and writing skills. You can also grab some art supplies such as pipe cleaners and paper and have them make letters using these tools. They can create words and sentences. Reenact stories or scenes from the past at home or at school with your child or your student. Help them to study history and literature. They can act it out. Have them create to build timelines of events that are being discussed in these subjects. Incorporate physical objects such as coins, bills, clocks, blocks. These can prove useful when teaching different concepts. Let them express their creativity by taking an art or a drama course. Drama is really good for physical learners. Using flashcards can be incredibly useful and fun. Write down information, and flipping the cards back and forth engages the brain physically while studying. Physical tactical learners are good at multitasking. If your students like going on walks, you can have them also listen to educational podcasts, audiobooks, or videos. Have your student act as the teacher. Ask them questions regarding a topic they have learned. Ask them to create a worksheet for the class. And this is allowing them to recall information they know back to you, and it is engaging them. Physical learners very much like to participate in educational trips and games, such as Scrabble, Monopoly, and other similar games. By incorporating movement or some kind of physical action into into their day, you are allowing them to maximize their learning potential. Making them sit for the full day is not engaging them, and they are not maximizing their learning potential. Make use of the environmental and their energy in a positive way. This will allow them to hit milestones and achievement in their educational adventure. The physical tactical learner style is beneficial for all students, including those who are audio and visual learners. Hands-on activities are the best. This is the way the kids' team seem to learn best. So this is great for all learning styles. Okay, this is the end of our lesson for today. In the next lesson, we will talk about the logical learning style, and I will see you in the next lesson, and have a great afternoon.